This is one of the first videos which I am doing on this treadmill. I got this treadmill in order to increase my baseline activity kind of during the day. So I had this problem every time I recorded something here or I stayed in this studio for work basically, or also for other activities. I would have the problem that if I didn't get out for maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times during the day, on days at which I don't shop groceries or I don't have a lot to go somewhere, that I cannot even have the 10,000 steps. So the idea was to get something in here which would allow me to walk in here. Now the apartment is not that big that I can walk in the apartment a lot, and also you have the problem that you then are walking flat all the time. And because I'm also living in an area that is quite flat, just getting out and doing a 100 meter up run with a 100 meter level difference would just not really be an option. I have to go somewhere in order to have a little bit of elevation. Now, what I did get is a treadmill, and this treadmill is under my desk. But this treadmill also is at an incline, and this incline is 15 degrees. I measured this and I put it into a calculator, and you probably take, or seemingly take, the tangents of these two values, and then you get the degrees it actually is. Now, because I have it at 15 degrees, so there was this idea of just getting a flat treadmill. There are also these foldable treadmills, and these would have been maybe better in terms of storing, because then you can fold it up and it's not half the size, but close to half the size. And if you then don't need it any longer, or you try this out and it doesn't work, and I saw a few videos online where people just tried this out and then were like, okay, well, I'm probably not doing this in the long term. I wanted obviously also only to invest in something, to buy something that I would keep in the long term. And also because space is kind of constrained, I wanted to have something that would be here in the long term. And I obviously, if you buy something and then you send it back, there is the risk that it would be rejected and you would not get a full refund, and so on and so forth. So I wanted to make this right, just like everybody else probably also would make every decision they are trying to make right. Now, I currently have it. And the treadmill I actually got is one that is not foldable, and it sold for about 190 euros on eBay. And it is kind of a just unbranded treadmill from China. But what it allows me to do is, because I'm now at an incline, I can basically run on it or walk on it. So there are 2 outcomes of this. The first outcome of this is that I can walk on it without having the treadmill on. So it's now not on. So this means I can at any point in time just stop and then just start again. So the threshold I already noticed by turning it on and turning it on with the remote is kind of high, because I also want to save energy and not have it running when I'm not on here. But if I'm, for example, brushing my teeth and I want to increase my step count a little bit more, then I can just go on here again. Or if I'm doing some video distribution, then I can just do something on here. Or if I'm, I don't know, shopping on Amazon, then I can just get steps in. The main problem, I think, with a lifestyle that is more based on something that is informational work, is that in front of a desk you cannot really walk. So the solution to this would obviously be some kind of way to be able to move in the environment at which you're also doing work on a device that is probably just having different kinds of information display on a screen. Now, it would also be nice in the future if you would have a giant office and you could project things around and then move things around with your hands, but that's just not the reality I live in today. So the second thing that this treadmill now allows me to do is to walk slower. Otherwise, in order to get a significant increase in my baseline exercise, apart from just having the steps in there, and I actually haven't found out if both of these devices, my Garmin and also my Galaxy Watch, do actually track the steps if I have, for example, my wrists on here. But the second outcome of this is that I can walk slower, and I don't have to speed walk, but I still have an effect, and it even is noticeable in my speaking, because I am kind of slightly out of breath. Even it might only be 20%, but it still, I think, is noticeable. And this also means that it has an effect on my respiratory system, as I am kind of grasping for air as I'm talking all the time. What this now also means is that every time I record something, for example, And recording doesn't require any particular movement, apart from sometimes I draw things on a small board I have. But I'm not doing this right now. So the idea is of mostly these videos, or of these videos, which I for now call front, because it's the front camera, to just talk like you would to another person. And so I would not show anything on screen and so on and so forth. So the idea is that if I record these videos, then I can also walk. And now the other question would be, and one of the questions was, what if I have this and then it's really loud? And gladly, because I now can run this treadmill and power it by basically my own weight, and also by my own steps that are moving upward with about a 15% incline, it is only the kind of passive noise you're hearing. And now I also have a directional mic that is kind of here on the side. You can maybe kind of see it on here. No, here. Maybe you can see it a little bit, but my smartphone's screen is not a very good mirror. So here's my device, and there's a thing next to it, which is a directional microphone. It's the Rode Video Mic Go-To, and this allows me to record my voice at kind of the level at which I'm speaking, and to not record so many other sounds from the area. So what I'm hoping is that the sound of the treadmill running is not something that is too loud. What I also think is really nice is that this is actually recorded. It's kind of me trying to layer another function on top of recording video. And also, maybe I want to experiment with talking while walking. So if you're standing still, then you are literally standing still, even though now standing still and moving, and also moving in general and moving in 3D space is often used as a metaphor for so many different things. Like, he's moving up in the company, he's moving down in the company. He's obviously kind of taken out of the realm of the physical reality, in which you can also move and move up, and then also look down onto other people, or look up onto other people, or look arrogantly if you look down on other people, or have your nose up high, and so on and so forth. So by walking, I'm trying, at least experimentally, to also have maybe an effect of walking that seems to, at the right intensity, it seems to have an effect of maybe focusing you more on the thing you're trying to do, or maybe it has a different effect at different intensities. I don't know, but I'm trying out now, and this is kind of now the video setup I'm using, and I now can basically do steps and record videos at the same time. And now, of course, the question is still whether this is something I should do, and maybe just focus my efforts onto something else. But at least for the time being, I think it is kind of useful.